What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. It's August 12th, 2025. We're recording this on Monday, August 11th at about 1:30 p.m. on the left coast. This is Weekly Skews. I'm Trey, and that's Mark. Mark, I like your hat and color scheme. It feels a little like 90s-y to me or something like that. A little throwback with like the teal and the pink and shit you got going on, you know?
Okay. Yeah, a little Miami Vice, a little vibe going on. I had a pair of, the long skateboarding shorts? You called them jams back in the day. They were like really brightly colored, and they were my favorite pair of clothing. Like fifth grade, I would wash them every day and wear them every day, but kids wouldn't believe I washed them, so they'd make fun of me. So that's a little throwback. Before we were talking about Trump's takeover of DC plus a few other things today, but before we get to the show, I wanted to do an update of a story we talked about last week, which is that the media finally got to the bottom of the WNBA dildo gate, you know, the wave of sex toy stochastic terrorism that's been plaguing women's basketball.
Yes.
You'll never guess, Trey, with some crypto fucking dinguses. ESPN spoke anonymously with a man who they got on a video call with him, which we'll get to in a second. But the guy, his internet handle is Lieutenant Dildo Rain, which is a mashup.
I get it. You know, it's like Aldo Rain from Inglourious Bastards, but it also is participation precipitation of sex toys. You know, mixed up. It's rain and dildos in here. I get it.
Yeah, so the way they would prove to these reporters that it's him is like they showed him screen grab in the video call of like them planning the thing before it went viral. So he just said, Daldo said, quote, "We really wanted to make memes funny again. That's their goal or whatever." The coin he's promoting is called Green Dildo Coin, which is why they're throwing green dildos. A part of this story here that I found, I had to go to like 3 or 4 different outlets to figure out the name of the coin, because ESPN, which broke the story first, is owned by Disney, which will not let them print the word dildo.
Right.
So, like, I feel like the Skews commandments we're making, like, live your life in such a way as to not have a Hitler controversy section on your Wikipedia page. I think another commandment we have now is you cannot, if you're securitized, financialized, whatever, cannot be, if the name of it's too puerile to put in the newspaper, you cannot be fucking money.
Right. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, but that being a Disney-based puritanical reason they wouldn't do it is one thing, but it kind of helps in not publicizing it for those dudes, right? Like, they want it to get attention, so ESPN refusing to say the name of it is kind of funny in that regard if you think these guys are douchebags or whatever.
Right, but the crypto guys figured it out because their value is up 300% the past week, so it worked, right?
Yep, yeah.
So,
what I figured.
Here's the real plot twist here. These guys see themselves as Robin Hoods. They try to frame themselves as the crypto version of like social justice warriors. Because what they're trying to protest here is they feel like the meme coin world, which they're in, is too full of grifters and scammers, right? Mm-hmm. They cannot get the word out about their fake money because big name people like the Winklevoss twins have paid Tom Brady to promote other fake crypto money, right? So they're trying. This is their way of trying to grab the narrative back and let people know about the little mom and pop meme coin.
Right. That's inspiring.
Yeah, according to the group, many smaller players in the space are struggling to keep up with the influences, the influx of influencers and scammers. Quote, "We knew that in order to get a voice in the space, like, you know, when they say the space, you're about to hear some weird business stuff or the worst social justice, worst bending of social justice language you've ever heard in your life. We knew in order to get a voice in the space, we had to go out and do some viral stunts to save us from having to pay that influencer cabal, sacrifice our souls, and the fate of our project." Now, they started this, but it did take on a life of its own. Some of the people throwing dildos were not at all involved or on the payroll or connected to these guys at all. And I don't know if these people think the world works. A 23-year-old by the name of Delbert Carver got arrested at a game. He told cops, quote, "This was supposed to be a joke that was supposed to go viral," which I guess he thought was a reason not to get arrested for throwing a dildo at someone.
Yeah, well, it's just a prank bro defense. They've been utilizing that defense for ages now, and at least one of them got shot to death. Finally, I can't remember the exact circumstances of it, but that did finally happen. One of those like YouTube prankster people, did it in Texas or whatnot, and got shot and died, and that was okay because I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but it was something ridiculous. So, and then try to just throw his hands up and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean it. It's for the gram." But yeah, that
is it?
Shit.
Does it make me a hypocrite if I'm against standard ground laws except against YouTube?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So yeah, like I just like that. Like this guy thinks like virality is like Your Honor, my client's pleading epic. Like,
right.
Anyway, it's so fucking stupid. Hopefully, it's over now.
Well, what is the what is the charge for throwing a dildo in a public space? Is it like public indecency or something like that?
It could, like, it depends on whether, like, one of them hit Sophie Cunningham, I think. You could construe that as assault fairly easily, but like the same laws, like you can't streak at a basketball game. Like you're interrupting, like it's just like you're interrupting, like it's. Yeah, I'm not sure the specific charge, but there's a whole host of things available to them. Public disorder.
Yeah. All right. Well, wish Dildo Coin all the best. But before we continue with this week's episode, of course, I got some announcements to make. If you wanted to see me do comedy live and in person, like I just did this weekend in Indianapolis, Indiana, you can go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. Next up is Austin, Texas, then St. Louis, upstate New York, Connecticut, and then my yearly Ohio trek in September, but a lot of other places after that this fall and even into 2026 already. So go to TreyCrowder.com and check out the upcoming dates, grab some tickets. Also there's a link to my most recent special, Trash Daddy, which you can check out. If you are interested in hearing some good news here and there, how about some good Skews? This is producer Matt's audio exclusive side project. So you can only get this on the audio version of this show. So like the podcast version of it. Matt talks to good people doing good things. It's a nice palate cleanser here and there. And finally, if you want to support this here program specifically, you can do so by signing up on Patreon. You can go to weeklyskews.com/more, or just go to Patreon and search for my name. Either way works. $5 a month gets you access to 2 full-length bonus episodes. It's just additional episodes of this show, and every now and then we do Q&As and answer your burning questions. So yeah, get some more Skews in your life and support the show in the process. Consider signing up on Patreon. Now, as for this week's episode, like Mark said, we're getting into the National Guard being deployed in the nation's capital to tamp down. Apparently, it's turned into like a John Carpenter '80s movie starring Kurt Russell or something in D.C. with like roving gangs of maniac criminals and stuff, which I had somehow missed that any of that had happened. But
you could live there your whole life and miss it, Trey. Yeah, that's right. The amazing thing about it.
But we'll get into all that in just a second. Specifically, we're going to start with the Daily Dumbass, though. Matt, graphic, please. Today's DD, the people of Iraq for not being able to aim as well as the people of Washington, D.C.
The president has been very clear that he's going to take the action necessary to secure the city of Washington for the people who live here, for all the American people and all who visit here. It's our capital city. It is more violent than Baghdad. It is more violent than parts of Ethiopia, parts of many of the most dangerous places in the world. It's really shocking.
I was so hoping that a shoe was going to come flying in and narrowly miss his head. I mean, preferably hit his head, but you know.
There are a lot of bad things about Trump too, but having to fucking deal with this Gargamel-looking motherfucker again, being the voice, like he's the real president when it comes to domestic policy right now. We have to like listen to his racist ass, who looks like he has the vibe of like a sick, dead child, like trapped in the body of a Victorian doll or something, and
yeah, I mean that's pretty accurate.
So he's relying on people's brains being like, well, Baghdad and Ethiopia obviously are hellholes because brown people live there, and therefore brown people live in D.C. and also it shouldn't be worse than there. Like, I tried to like get to the bottom of whether or not what he's saying is accurate or not. First of all, D.C. is not. I think there are far more violent cities in the United States, including like St. Louis. Cleveland,
Memphis, Cleveland, Oakland. I saw somebody on Reddit posted the current top 20 based on actual like crime statistics, and DC is literally not in the top 20. So
right. So I try to Baghdad aren't a ton of reliable fucking stats here about crime, like murder rates in Baghdad. the closest I get was like 20. The most recent I could find was 2013, and he is correct that the murder rate in Baghdad at that point was lower than Washington D.C. Here's the thing, though. Back in 2004, when the U.S. Army ran Baghdad, they instituted a huge gun buyback program, which the government of Iraq has reactivated in the year 2020, I think. So Ethiopia also, as far as I could tell, his statement there about D.C. having a higher murder rate than Ethiopia is true. Ethiopia has pretty strict gun control by American standards. You can only have one gun there, which to an American is like, well, I have two hands, Trey. What the fuck am I going to do with the other hand?
How am I supposed to do the Yosemite Sam thing properly with only one gun? You can't fire two pistols in the air at the same time while going yeehaw if you've only got one pistol because of the fucking overreach of the government.
Right. So so Trump hasn't deployed the National Guard yet. What he did was redirect a bunch of federal law enforcement agencies. It started after midnight Friday morning and mainly escalated on Sunday. It's led by the U.S. Park Police with more than a dozen other federal law enforcement agencies, the Capitol Police, DEA, FBI, ATF, and the Marshal Service. Here's a video from this morning, I think, of the DEA patrolling the National Mall, which I think you have to see to understand what's actually happening here, which is mostly nothing except a waste of time and resources.
Was that 6 dudes?
In bulletproof vests, walking down a pathway while a woman jogs past them, minding her business. And, they're wearing flak jackets. She's wearing, Viore running shorts or some shit. First of all, if you're looking for crime in D.C., you're not looking at the National Mall.
Right.
I have no idea what they're going to do there, but one thing I did enjoy, I looked at the weather in D.C. today. It's about 90 degrees with humidity hovering between 60 and 90%. So those guys are having an absolutely miserable fucking time. So at least 120 FBI agents were reassigned from other duties to take part in this bullshit. And let me quote my NPR story about the deployment on Sunday. At one intersection, a minor traffic accident happened between a car and a moped, and it brought at least 24 agents running, some wearing masks and one carrying a rifle. So a car, they didn't stop anything. They just watched a car hit a moped and ran toward it. Trump had a big White House press availability this morning where he brought out a bunch of people, the Secretary of the Interior, the FBI Director,
Pam
Attorney
Bondi
General.
was there, right?
Yeah. Pam Bondi said, quote, "Crime in D.C. is ending and ending today." And that's a fucking hell of a campaign promise there. Somebody put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I thought you said, didn't he say he's going to deploy the National Guard or whatever? But he did. He said that, right? You're just saying that hasn't actually happened yet.
Right.
Because I know some of the headlines and shit I saw said, because I also saw people pointing out, they're like, wait, I thought he couldn't do that because he didn't on January 6th. And other people were like, yeah, well, that obviously January 6th wasn't an emergency. And clearly this whole situation somehow is. But anyway. Yeah.
So some context here is there's a bench trial happening today in Newsom versus Trump, which is the court case over Trump sending the National Guard, taking away California's National Guard to send into L.A. And they appear to be getting their shit rocked in court. A bunch of high-ranking generals are testifying about what bullshit it was, and so I'm not sure if what they're going to do about if the court say this was dumb and you can't do it if he's going to try it again. I think that's hanging over all this. But so I do want we didn't talk about it after they left, but the deployments in LA ended with kind of a whimper after a bunch of the National Guard and troops and Marines protested by taking shits in their Humvees. Some of them absolutely refused to participate, and their superior officers declined to even what do you call it? Turn them in for
insubordination or whatever.
Yeah. It's okay, this is bullshit. You don't have to do it. So there's lots of slow walking and weird dumb shit happening here. I do want to note on the Dem side of this that in 2021 the House voted to make D.C. a state, which would have made some of this authoritarian bullshit harder to do. But the Senate, couldn't do anything because the filibuster. The rules of the Senate are that it takes 60 votes to do anything good and only 51 to kill everybody. And those are the rules. What do you expect us to do?
Yeah, right.
Change the rules? You can't change the rules, even though we have the ability to change the rules.
Yeah.
That's bull. So now, because they didn't do that, D.C. is under the control of an aspiring dictator. Way to go, everybody. And like you mentioned, he's using emergency powers to do all this shit. The tariffs are emergency powers. The fucking taking over California's National Guard was emergency powers. I've lost count of like how many obscure.
A lot of those executive orders and shit like that were based on emergency powers and stuff too, weren't they? Like dubiously at best, but that's their rationale for everything.
The Supreme Court is eventually going to have to rule that there is a national emergency to do these tariffs, even though what's the fucking emergency? No one can say what the emergency is. Like the ability to like nationalize DC's police, take command of it. The emergency that the people who wrote the law were like envisioning are like if the British try to burn the White House again like they did in 1812. Mm-hmm. It's not this, because the emergency, the emergencies that Trump is laid out here for the reasons this is happening, if you guys have missed it, is he saw homeless people from his motorcade, and 2 big balls got beat up by a girl.
Yeah, I forgot about the big balls thing, because when I saw this earlier, I was like, in response to what? Like, what is even the purported rationale for this? You know, is this just literally coming out of nowhere? I've forgotten that the horrific crime that was subjected to one of our preeminent leaders in the government, big balls.
In case you think, that's a picture of him after getting beat up, right? We'll get to the details of the assault in a second, but like, so before you think we're like taking advantage of his pain or whatever, Elon posted that photo. Mm-hmm. Elon is the one that doxed him and made him look like and so the first version of this story that Elon tweeted out was that Big Balls was attacked by, if you don't know who Big Balls is, congratulations. He's one of the infamous Doge kids who's destroyed everything and stolen all of our data. Elon said, quote, "A few days ago, a gang of about a dozen men tried to assault a woman in her car at night in D.C. A Doge team member saw what was happening, ran to defend her, and was severely beaten to the point of a concussion, but he saved her. It's time to federalize D.C." Now, you know Elon's lying because it's Elon saying it.
Yeah.
But apparently what happened, there may have been more than 2, but the cops stopped this in the middle of it happening. And they arrested like a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old, a boy and a girl, for unarmed carjacking early in the morning one night. So why is a 19-year-old kid out in a neighborhood full of bars? Because people are getting deported for crimes less serious than that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, we have no idea what happened there, but based upon everything I know about him, I don't think that Big Balls is some innocent player in this thing. And the girl he supposedly came to the aid of was the girl who was with Big Balls. So, like, I don't know the truth, but the fact he didn't have his shirt on makes me feel like he challenged them to a fight. So he tried to fight a group of teenagers and got his fucking shit wrecked. Now it's all of our problems. And so in response to this, Trump has called for children as young as 14 to be tried for adults. So basically what they're saying is we have to imprison freshmen for life because Big Balls is a nerd with a concave chest who can't win a fucking fist fight against 2 teenagers. I have no idea what we should do with this, but the kid should never fucking live this down. Like, if he wants to corn to get a coffee, everybody should be like, "Oh, do you need SEAL Team 6 to fucking escort you, you fucking pussy?" Like, this is like so goddamn ridiculous.
I mean, Cat Williams still gets it thrown in his face years later, so I think Big Balls deserves the same fate. I don't know if you remember, Cat Williams got beat up by like a 6th grader or something. Fairness, Cat Williams is as big or whatever. So by the way, he'll never see this, so it's fine. I'm about to say, I want zero smoke from Cat Williams, just so everyone's clear. But
big fan.
That did happen. Yeah, big fan. Anyway.
And all again, we talked about this with the Manhattan shooting, but the reflex to be like, well, we need more law enforcement. Again, cops stopped this in the middle of it happening. And arrested 2 people. There's really nothing more they could have done except to stop crime before it happens, which is not how fucking linear time works.
Yeah, well, we've talked before about their some kind of AI initiative that's sort of framed around basically that. But like, they definitely, they want Minority Report. We talk all the time about it, all these dystopian sci-fi movies and stuff. These tech bro overlords apparently watch them and are like, man, that would be awesome. Like, they're clearly like cautionary tales, but they watch it and they're like, it's really got the old gears turning upstairs. But yeah, if they could, they're trying to figure out pre-crime for sure, a way that they can just lock people up for shit that they think that they might do.
It's like they want to make RoboCops, but they apparently stopped the movie before RoboCop kills all the people who created him.
Yeah.
So again, if reality matters here at all, crime in D.C. is way down. Like, they had the COVID spike, everybody did, but semi-quote here, violent crime dropped 26% this year so far compared to the same period last year. Homicides down 12%. Assaults with a dangerous weapon dropped 20%. These all include non-fatal shootings and stabbings. We got a fun player here, a D.C. City Councilman by the name of Trayon White, who took to social media to say that Trump's not totally wrong on this one. You'll never guess, Trey. In a million years, he just got reelected. He was forced out of office because he was caught taking bribes on camera, and he's still awaiting trial.
Mm-hmm.
They arrested him last year. He was caught on camera taking thousands of dollars in kickbacks from a business owner seeking to help renewing his company's contracts with the D.C. government. White took $156,000 in cash. So, yeah, if you're wondering when he was going to start his campaign for a pardon, it's fucking started over the weekend. The dude's wild one. Back in 2018, White posted on Facebook that the Rothschild family controls the weather.
Mm-hmm. And he was kind of ahead of the game on that one, I feel like. No. I mean, I guess they've been saying that for a while, but they got more specific in the past couple years with the actual hurricane machines and stuff that we apparently have.
After like the ADL and other Jewish civil rights groups got mad at him, he met with Jewish community leaders and he agreed to visit the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, but he left halfway through the 90-minute tour.
I think I got it.
Yeah, I got the gist.
Yeah.
So here's the real punchline to this: the money that White helped these dudes steal from the city government was intended to fund violence interruption efforts. So the money that he stole after taking a bribe to do so could have been redirected to the wayward teens who busted Big Ball's grill. Amazing how this works.
Yeah, there's always layers, man. It's always like corrupt bullshit all the way down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, we got a honorable mention here for you in this Daily Dumbass this week, and it's ICE for not realizing that Mayor McCheese would never authorize the deportation of Ronald McDonald.
Of Trump burger restaurants is facing deportation. ICE says Roland Beanie, a 28-year-old from Lebanon, overstayed his visa after entering the U.S. back in 2019. He was taken into custody in May and is now not out on bond as he awaits immigration proceedings. ICE sent a statement to KHOU.
All right, you turn it off. So this story went viral. We were talking about it in our group chat, and I was waiting for another shoe to drop to make this more, because we were like, is this guy, maybe the restaurant owner doesn't even like Trump. It's just a fucking obvious money grab for a restaurant in Texas who's trying to expand, right?
Right, yeah. But also, like, how do they, like all these Trump stores and stuff, you can just do that? Is it because he's the president or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, you can, like, anyone can just open up a Trump store or Trump restaurant or whatever. I mean, you see them all over the place, but I mean, because I remember when he was on The Apprentice, I don't know why I remember this specific story, but when he was the host of The Apprentice, he got a local pottery maker and store owner closed down. He sued him because it was called You're Fired Pottery, like, you know, like you fire a kiln. So it's called You're Fired Pottery, and he got that shut down because that was his trademarked catchphrase and shit. So, but this is worship of him. So I don't know. I just wonder that every time I see one of these fucking stores, because you run into them.
I'm not sure what the rules are for fair use for a person's. He probably just figures that it helps him, because there's so many people making bootleg Trump merch. Like, he probably can't fight it all.
Yeah.
So this went like super viral as like a fuck around, find out stupid Trump supporter story. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's actually, like most things, reality is more interesting than the flattened fiction of it. So let me read this headline to you. The untold origin of Trump Burger, a $250,000 murder for hire plot, ICE arrest, and vaccine scam. Okay, now we're cooking.
Got it all. Got it all.
So the guy is facing deportation, as the news story says, a 28-year-old named Ronald Beanie. So back in 2022, the Houston Chronicle said he was born in Boston and moved to Lebanon as a child, then returned to the U.S. in 2019. Other outlets referred to him as Lebanese immigrant. Fox Business once called him a second-generation Lebanese American. And that TV news report said he overstayed a visa, which he got in 2019. But he was associated with Trump Burger as early as 2017, according to the Houston Chronicle. So I'm not really clear. This guy's background is super fuzzy, except ICE held him for a month and a half, which leads me to presume he's not an American citizen, although that's not necessarily the way ICE is doing right now. So the truth of the matter is, he did not found Trump Burger, okay? The person with the Middle Eastern background who loves Trump did indeed start the restaurant in Houston in his honor, but that was back in 2016, not 2020. And the founders were a couple who went by the names Eddie and Sue Hawa, okay? There was originally one location known as Trump Cafe. You follow me so far?
Yeah. Yes, I think so.
All right. Hawa is a Muslim from Israel who was not at all offended, let me quote here from the Houston Chronicle, was not at all offended by the Republican nominee's rhetoric about Muslims or immigrants because Trump was not talking about people like him.
No.
How do so many people do this? Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what, it's like, well, he's talking about the criminals and the terrorists and stuff. And I also think those are bad. I'm a good freedom-loving patriot, just like Trump. He understands that about me, surely.
Yeah.
They all genuinely delude themselves into believing that. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So it seems like the Hawas partnered with Roland back in 2017 when the cafe was failing, and they met Roland when he worked in a kitchen when they all met. So I'm not sure where they got the money from to expand to 4 different locations and change the name and remodel and all that shit. But like, if the FBI wasn't busy walking around D.C. doing beat cop shit, it'd be nice to get to the bottom of this, but no one's going to. So it turns out Eddie Hawa's real name is Iyad Abdul Hawa. Back in 2005, this is where the story gets interesting. Eddie was arrested under his former name, was arrested on charges of trying to defraud Medicare by giving fake flu vaccines to senior citizens and about 1,100 Exxon employees at a health fair.
Jesus Christ. That took a real turn. I feel like fake flu vaccines for senior citizens, obviously very fucked up. For big oil workers or whatever, I mean, I guess you still shouldn't do it, but I'm not as sympathetic.
No, but they spread the disease to people. Like, I know, what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's about the whole herd immunity thing. I mean, yeah, so the actual substance within the syringes was sterilized water, so at least it wasn't giving them poison.
Okay.
So, but while Eddie was in federal detention, he met a doctor named Ira Klein who was awaiting sentencing for like insurance fraud, where he made $10 million, scammed them out of $10 million. So Klein, according to court filings, asked Eddie to help him arrange the assassinations of an FBI agent, a district judge, a U.S. district attorney, assistant attorney, and his own wife. He wanted to pay $250,000 for that. Now,
I mean, that sounds like a pretty good deal, I guess. I don't know what the going rate is for assassinations, but if you're doing a fucking FBI agent, a judge, a U.S. assistant attorney, and then I feel like you throw the wife in there. Like, you pay for those three. You buy those three, you get the wife for free. It's a $250,000 flat rate. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild. Eddie just played along with this, knowing he was going to roll over on this guy to help himself out, or actually planned on doing it at first and was like, wait, this is insane? Or
Eddie found a win-win scenario because he'd already pled guilty for his fucking shit. So what he did was he immediately snitched and then filed a lawsuit that he should be able to keep the $250,000 for being a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
So you do not give it to murderers, still get the $250K. Fucking brilliant. You can start to see the Eddie Deal, start to see why he loves Trump, right?
Well, now that I know that the guy paid him up front, I totally understand what he was like. Yeah, I'll totally do that. And then they just goes straight to the authorities. Oh man. Congratulations, Ira Klein. You played yourself. Good Lord.
He lost $250,000 and still has a loving wife. What a fucking bad deal. So, fast forward to Trump Burger in 2025, all right? B&E and the Hawas and a few others involved in the Trump Burgers around Houston are involved in a bunch of warring lawsuits, like a 6-way legal battle over broken leases, a failure to pay rent, a baseless eviction, abandonment of a transfer of liquor license, breach of contract, false representations, and, quote, commandeering business operations. They're accusing each other of stealing Trump Burger from each other. And let me quote here, "I'm doing my best to put him in jail," Sue Hawa said about Ronald. "I don't need these people in our country like this." So the real story here is not a Trump supporter fucking around and finding out, not in the way you think. It's that all these people legitimately love Trump because they're fucking grifting business weasels just like him, and he's their idol. And my guess here is Sue basically confessed to their weaponizing ICE to try to take out their business rival.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a strong move if you're in a position like that. If you're dealing with another immigrant who you don't like or whatever, I feel like it'd be pretty easy to get ICE to come fuck with just about anybody. right
Once
now.
a snitch, always a snitch, man.
Yep.
Turns out.
All right, we got one more honorable mention for you, and it's non-Latinos for not having the special back muscles that make them superior for farm labor. Matt, video, please.
These people that you can't replace them very easily. You know, people that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody's tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. That's interesting, isn't it? You know, these are very, you know, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay.
No. Okay, so
back to their country.
I like fucking super CNBC anchors like, wait, we're supposed to be one of the non-racist networks. How do we get this back on track? So yeah, you follow there's a lot of thought there. Is like we have to keep some of the farm workers because they have super powerful backs, and we've tried to bring back slavery and make the black people do it, but we can't do that. So even though we've tried, so unfortunately we have to. These are very special immigrants.
Right. Like, yeah, no, you understand. Like, they make they're ideal for exploitative labor. Like they'd make great slaves. We do, but technically it's not slaves because obviously that's bad. But I'm just saying, they're an ideal race in many ways. If you have very menial tasks you need repeated over and over again for your own enrichment, I would recommend them.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about ICE's staffing woes for a second, but it's not just ICE, and the federal government struggling with a lot of this, not just partly because Doge fired a bunch of people, or fired is the wrong word. They're paying them to stay at home while they figured a way to legally fire them, which is a really good use of resources. And a lot of people resigned, in protest or went to find jobs that break their souls less. And here's Janine Pirro talking about how no one wants to work anymore in fascism.
Judge, I've been hearing from my sources at the DOJ that there is a very, very big problem with staffing. Assistant attorney generals on down saying we have great plans, we're doing great things, but we're down like 2/3 staff.
Yeah, I'm
What's going
down
on?
90 prosecutors.
Why is that happening?
60 investigators.
Why?
Because nobody cared. I'm telling you right now, nobody cared enough to make sure that office was running. I'm going to have that office running. If you want a job in the nation's capital, in the premier office, the largest U.S. attorney's office, contact me.
Judge, I've been
I love
hearing.
it. So she's trying to recruit from Fox's audience, which is the average age of 67 and has an IQ of 84, to be prosecutors in the DC's.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's like you said, you already referenced with the Doge thing. Like, they came out the gate this time around, this administration, like, that was part of their whole thing, cleaning house in the government or whatever. Now, a few short months later, they're like, we can't get anybody working in the government to do all this, to do all of our fascism stuff that we want done, people signing up. And you're talking about the median age of, who that was directed at. But ICE just did that, didn't they? They released removed all age limits or requirements or whatever. And so
the age cap was 39, and they lifted it to, I forget how far they lifted it. Maybe they just removed it altogether.
There it is, yeah. So, you can get a papaw and you do like a LeBron and Bronny thing, but for crimes against humanity.
Propaganda
does it.
That poster that Matt just put up, it was tweeted out by Homeland Security with the caption, "We're taking father-son bonding to a whole new level." It's got two white dudes, of course, in tactical gear. It's basically like, join ICE instead of taking a bath with your dad. I just like the whining of Pirro, man. It's like the fact that they fucking got rid of everybody and made it a morally gross enterprise to work at. Just complaining that nobody works there anymore except the guy who pours rosé in her funnel. It's fucking wild to me. So Christy Noem's version of this, they said that she says that they've got 80,000 applications for 10,000 jobs at ICE, but they must be the most illiterate assholes in the world if they're pivoting to try to hire entry-level guys in their 50s.
Right.
How do they have the manpower to send ICE to also patrol DC as police?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Do all this.
They seem to be all over the place,
Right.
and they've been ramping up heavily, or that's what they've been saying. Well, and I know you're about to say this, but I mean, for one thing, Dean Cain has come to the rescue, so that helps a lot. That alone, at least is a big morale boost, I'm sure, to have Superman join the ranks.
It's crazy. Like I know, like we make fun of them a lot for their shallow bench of celebrity endorsers or whatever, but like using Dean Cain as like an avatar for a cool guy who's joining ICE. So like he was, if you guys aren't familiar. He was the lead on an ABC like a romantic drama comedy series called Lois and Clark, which is like a lighthearted, like, romance version of Superman and Lois Lane, right? In 1994 or something? Earlier than that?
I don't think it was earlier than that. I would have thought, late 90s, I guess. Late 90s, early 2000s maybe, but 30 years ago. Ugh.
And so, let me quote you. We put a video announcing this. Hey, everybody. He's 59 years old, by the way. Hey, everybody. Dean Cain here. For those who don't know, I'm a sworn law enforcement officer as well as being a filmmaker. And it felt important to join with our first responders to help secure the safety of all Americans, not just talk about it. He's like a reserve police officer in like Idaho, I think. Which reserve officer means like you volunteer to do a couple hours a month, to like doing like security at like a county fair or some shit. I don't even know if he's been doing that. So ICE is offering $50,000 signing bonuses to people. They're giving new ICE recruits student loan forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's like socialism is cool if it only when it's tied to hardcore authoritarian and fascism also, and racism and all these other isms that do hit for them. If the socialism is in service of those isms, then they're it's something to be applauded.
And
all this big government shit too, So all of this, all this DC stuff and the ICE stuff and everything, it's the party of big government doing all of it, and it's wild.
And I know the counterpoint to this, and it's a bad reflex to be fair to be fair to this bullshit, but like they're working for it. It's different than just giving it to people, like conditioning it upon public service, and but they're also trying to. They're the same programs exist for like people who do social work and teaching and stuff, and they've been trying to shut those down for years. Mm-hmm. So no student loan forgiveness for teachers, but student loan forgiveness for like head cracking goons. Yep. So ICE also briefly tried to offer cash bonuses for rapid deportations, so everybody got mad at them for that. But like they're like a few weeks from offering to pay for scalps and human ears. Like if you just show up with an ear necklace, you could retire. They're also they're repurposing. They're so short staffed. They're repurposing FEMA people to be deployed to ICE, which I think we've talked about before. These are people who, God damn it, let me read here from the story. A number of employees with the Federal Emergency Management Agency were informed via email late on Tuesday that they have been reassigned effective immediately to ICE. The workers had 7 days to accept the assignment under threat of being removed from the civil service. According to sources familiar with the matter, those reassigned were probationary employees with less than 1 year at FEMA who, because of presumed weaker civil service protections, were fired early in the Trump administration but reinstated after a court order. Like many federal agencies, these employees have been on paid administrative leave for months among the over 100,000 men and women across the federal government who have been collecting a salary yet doing no work. So, these people joined FEMA, an agency that helps people.
Right. And then get told, we're transferring you to the most hurtful of all agencies. The agency whose entire purpose is to hurt people. It seems like there wouldn't be a lot of overlap there. Like if you're like, I was wanting to, ladle out soup after hurricanes or whatever, but I guess I'll settle for cracking teenager skulls in fucking South Florida. That's basically the same thing. They have hurricanes there sometimes. Maybe there'll also be a hurricane while I'm cracking skulls, and I can get a little taste of what I wanted to do. But you said at the end of that the people you're talking about haven't even been working every day. Like
they've been sitting at home, like when in cops and movies they get paid leave for shooting somebody, they just have to go on a paid vacation. So it's the same thing. They've been sitting at home collecting direct deposit while the government tries to figure out a way to fire them when they wanted to work to help people in exchange for their salary. And it's not like there haven't been federal emergencies in the past few months while they've been sitting at home getting paid to do nothing. For context, the little hill country update after the flooding there. People there are still finding body parts like in their yards and bushes and shit that no one has picked up. There was a big like a city council meeting or a town council hearing where people were just screaming at their public servants about how like no one's been picking up these human remains. Because basically what they do is if they find a body part and it DNA matches, they call off the search for the rest of the person because they don't have the resources to continue looking or don't want to.
Right.
I don't fucking know. Maybe the Trump administration just doesn't give a shit. And also, this is happening in Texas. We're not talking about the stupid redistricting fight right now, but like, forget left-right ideology for a second and think back to the original purpose of democracy, which everyone seems to forget. It's just basic accountability for governance. Not left-right, but do you do a good job or not?
Right.
Now,
right.
So if they're not picking up strewn body parts that have been left in these people's communities, but they are trying to redistrict to make sure you can never vote them out, no matter how many body parts they leave in your yard.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd think they would be more concerned, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. I think about that all the time. It's like we harp on like the Democrats all the time on this show for not doing a good enough job or for pissing us off or whatever. And it's like, I just would appreciate the same level of objectivity from everyone. Where it's like you said, it used to be about, are you making things better or making this country better or whatever. And I guess a lot of people think that he is by getting rid of all the brown people or whatever. I don't fucking know. But I know that in their towns and in their lives, I know shit's falling apart more every day. And in places like this, they have, legs floating in creeks and whatever. And it's, you just think that would amount to a dang on the old report card. But I'm not sure that that's going to happen. Ever.
No. Yeah, so let's go back to let's pivot back to like, so ICE is short staffed, right? So who's left working there? There's always been a cultural divide between ICE. You got the ERO people. You got the professional investigator side of ICE, the people that up until Trump was reelected worked on like stuff like human trafficking, customs enforcement, interdiction for smuggling operations, stuff like that. They're the ones who like do stuff that most people think is useful or good. Then you have the ERO half that are the goons who just fucking tackle people on the street. And historically, the other people, the customs people, look down on the ERO people, right? Now they're all goons, but you got a mix of people either half-assing it or are too stupid to be good at their job. They're also like know that people hate them, which of course is why they're wearing the masks and stuff, and like they're cowards to wear the masks, but the way this manifests itself on the ground is you got ICE employees who are and other federal employees who are tasked to work for ICE who are afraid, partially because they're cowards and they don't want social stigma, they don't want their pictures floating around the internet, and probably because people have shot them because what they're doing is evil, right? I
know. Well, that's what I was about to say. It's like I get that if everywhere you go, everyone hates you, that you like would try to hide from that or would want to if you can. But I also feel like how do you sleep at night? Like if everywhere you go, everyone hates you, are you not going like, maybe it's because I'm doing a bunch of like repulsive shit that people don't like, But it's just, I don't know.
Right.
I just feel like I would be bothered by that.
I don't think all these people are in their off time or in the previous times are like sociopaths or bad. Just because they're being tasked to do bad stuff does not mean they're bad. Like history's littered with good people doing bad things everywhere all the time, right? So like, but these people are going to have guilt and trauma and PTSD and stuff that they should be considering a strike, because a lot of these guys are going to kill themselves or be forced to quit before they get their pensions. I say guys, they're of course women too, but you know what I'm saying. So somebody in their organization should be thinking ahead, but they're not doing that. But so the toxic cocktail here is you got people that are cowards both to the public and to their bosses not standing up. They're not that bright or are being forced to perform not that bright because each field office has been given a quota to arrest 75 people a day. So they got the ticking clock hanging over them. It's just a bad mix. So I read a story about you also add in corruption because no one in top cares. We'll get to in a second. But like I read about this guy. You're not gonna. This fucking dude who works at a car wash in Los Angeles. Okay, he's an American citizen. If that matters to anybody, he got because ICE is afraid. What they do is they swoop in, they kidnap everybody, sort them out later. They take them somewhere else to like go through and figure out who's a citizen or not. This guy's held for hours. They eventually get to him. He has a driver's license, and he tells them he's an American citizen. They take him back to the car wash. He goes back to work. Another ICE unit swoops in and kidnaps him for the second time that fucking day. Because they have the same quota and fucking deadline.
Right.
So this one guy was the American citizen counting towards 2 arrests that day.
Yeah.
And like... So then on to the corruption part of it, I read about this story.
He gets off work, goes in his house, and like opens the shower curtain, and ICE is behind it and grabbed him. And they arrest him for a third time that day. They just keep popping up everywhere he's at.
Like if they put this guy on the payroll and let him and he agrees to be arrested 75 times a day, he can meet the quota.
That still counts. Yeah.
So this restaurant, you sent us a video from your neighborhood. Do you want to describe it, Trey? What happened? What was going on in it?
Yeah, there's an Italian restaurant that was literally just around the corner from the house I used to live in, which is not far from the one I live in now, in Burbank, where they... my wife sent me a video somebody took on a cell phone of ICE raiding that restaurant, and the first thing that happens in the video is they roll up to the front door. There's like 15 of them or something. The first thing they do is take one of the little claw hammered tool, head basher things they got and rip the cameras down, destroy the cameras on the restaurant before they go in and do anything else. It's like that's the very first thing they do. And it's like, what reason is there for doing that isn't, gross and nefarious and everything, or at least, CYA for nefarious doers.
There's no legitimate reason for law enforcement to be smashing anyone's private property where they're not committing a crime, much less the video surveillance that's owned by this fucking that restaurant to keep an eye on what's going on. I don't like being surveilled either, but you are the fucking surveillance, motherfuckers. So I wanted you to mention that because there's a restaurant in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, which is in the western part of the state. I think 50 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. Federal agents stormed into a restaurant called Emiliano's, a Mexican restaurant, and the people at the restaurant. I also watched a video of it. I don't see where they have any reason to lie. And the cops are still there in the restaurant, so they didn't have time to stage anything. Is they quote stormed a restaurant to show of force and went far beyond anything reasonable or humane. They didn't just detain people; they raided the heart of our business, tore through our spaces, and left behind a trail of fear, confusion, and destruction. Our kitchens were flipped. Our walk-ins were emptied. Food was trashed, doors broken, lives were shattered. They left the kitchen on fire. They took all the food out of the fucking walk-in. They just stole it.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Maybe they didn't set the kitchen fire on purpose. Maybe they're just trying to cook carnitas. And
I was about to say, they were just like, ooh, tortillas. I like tortillas. Yeah. Might as well just steal from these people while we're, I mean, once you're doing all the shit that they're doing, what's adding in a little theft in there? You know what I mean? It's like, that's not so bad compared to the other shit that they do every day. So
when you're doing your crimes against humanity, you might as well mix in a few crimes for profit.
Yeah,
right?
Regular old crimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing a lot of ICE activity in Western Pennsylvania, and I was wondering why. I mean, obviously they're focusing on cities and states that are involve potential 2028 challengers, and Josh Shapiro is definitely trying to be on the list. So I mean that's part of it, but also then I came across this. There's another town about 30 minutes away from Cranberry Township, and also when you start pitching trying to say that a town named Cranberry Township has dystopia going on.
Yeah, right. It doesn't sound believable.
It's we got to send ICE into Whoville or something.
Yeah.
So there's a town about 30 minutes away called Ambridge, Pennsylvania. Ambridge is literally named after the American Bridge Company, steel mills. It's the exact same, but when you think of dying steel mill, Trump town, fucking Appalachian, yeah. It sits in the Ohio River about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh. It's closed storefronts, all that shit. But in recent years, they've seen an influx of immigrants. And they had 2 Latino supermarkets opened, a Spanish language bookstore, founded by Venezuelan refugees and a Puerto Rican-owned barbershop. And then, there's recently a big profile in a magazine called Pittsburgh Latino magazine about how great things are going, how happy the locals are there to have them. So apparently somebody in law enforcement read that and got super fucking pissed off.
Right.
These, Latinos were living unmolested and making life better for the people they live with, and decided you can't have that. So they've cracked down on Ambridge and all the surrounding areas. The local police in Ambridge are cooperating with ICE and taunting the residents. So it's like a local civil war between the people that live there and the cops whose salaries they pay.
Uh-huh.
Right. So, yeah, that's what's going on in Pennsylvania. I don't fucking... we did an episode a couple years ago about Democrats obsessing with trying to outfund cops. And, they were building the cop city in Atlanta and all that shit.
Oh,
Yeah. And we're like, this is not going to end well, and you guys don't understand. You cannot buy cops into being on your side because they are a right-wing political group. They're not. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to think about them. You're just fun. I'm trying to think of a parallel thing. It'd be like if Republican Party was using a bunch of taxpayer dollars to fund Greenpeace or some shit. There's no parallel. The tech, I just wanted to go. I wanted to list some stupid, dumb ice shit that we're using taxpayer dollars on, and wasting valuable. Climate change is still happening out there. I don't want time to think about it right now, but the people that are still working for ICE and Border Patrol appear to be experimenting with their own fucking panopticon powers. There's a Border Patrol agent who's walked around wearing Meta smart glasses to immigration raids in LA. I have no idea whether he's using AI for facial recognition or whatever, or whether he's authorized to wear them. No one knows whether they're his own glasses or whether they're state issued. But the fact that Mark Zuckerberg is getting in on this, I find just all the dorks, man, line them up, dude.
No, it's not going well. It's like I said earlier, it's all the worst parts of any kind of futurology that has ever existed. I mean, an ICE agent wearing the smart glasses or whatever is just a couple of steps below that. There's a Black Mirror episode that is essentially that. The soldiers wear these helmets that have a heads-up display on them, and it makes refugees look like vampires or monsters, evil and so they, they freak them out and they shoot them, and they don't feel bad about shooting them, but it's just the visor that in reality they're just cowering and hungry and whatnot.
It's the
classic Black Mirror shit.
It's the glasses from They Live, except for instead of revealing who's a lizard person,
yes,
it puts the Snapchat cat filter on people.
Yeah, but for dehumanization. But yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely where we're heading. I just these guys, the biggest dork to ever live, a Border Patrol agent with who looks like a fucking California surfer dude, has decided single-handedly to escalate the Panopticon as an entry-level cog who's just as likely to be at the gun-end point of this fucking crackdown eventually. You're not in leadership yet, bro. I don't know how these guys think all this ends.
Panopticon, I've had this on my list to bring up to Corey on POA for a while, but it's like a concept for a prison, right, where you never know if you're being watched or not.
Yeah, it's
one guard or one tower position can surveil everyone, and you could be surveilled at any given time, but you have no way of knowing whether or not you are. Right. So that applies to the way that they want, society to operate.
It's a metaphor, but yeah, the Panopticon is a physical. It literally is a physical prison, where one guard can surveil everybody at the same time. I'm not sure how that design works, but somebody's probably working trying to figure it out. Because you can't afford to be. You're going to need the Panopticon if you can't afford prison guards. You have to send them all out to do ICE. So the last thing I want to get to really to immigration. A couple of different civil liberties organizations and journalistic outlets have got a hold of they have FOIA'd some records from local police departments in Texas, and discovered that they are having data shared with them from cameras at Home Depot and Lowe's parking lots that these AI cameras read license plates. It's a company named Flock Safety. They basically scan license plates and run through AI databases looking for people that have been at other locations where other crimes happened. And these cameras have been installed in 4,000 cities across 42 states. Flock, for its part, says that private subscribers are keeping their data secret, and they don't really know how it got into the hands of local Texas cops. But if local Texas cops have it, I guarantee the federal government has it. And the Lowe's and Home Depot people, it seems to be for loss prevention efforts. Basically, like if a car has been at other locations where shoplifting has happened,
right?
They know to watch the people in the car.
I know, that's what I was about to ask. What are they even using it for?
I'm like, bro, if you're a security guard at a Home Depot, if you can't stop somebody from shoplifting lumber, fucking find a new line of work, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like nobody's putting a drill down their pants. Jesus Christ. So, and all these companies, man, everyone's so short-sighted. If they thought about how this data might, like, put their customers in danger, whether it's cops cops get caught stalking their exes all the time.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that it's ICE targeting yard workers. Who do they think's coming to the store? Who are the contractors that think are buying lumber and shit there? They're snitching on their own customers.
Right.
Like,
no, I think about that part of it all the time too. Where it's like we talked about it with that clip earlier with Trump talking about him and the farm labor and stuff. It's like I get that it's cool to hate immigrants or whatever if you're on the right, but like so many of these people, you use them for shit all the time and know that or should know that. So you just think that at some point that they would, speak out against it, even for their own selfish reasons or whatever. But because there's these people, there's a massive part of the underpinning of how this country runs on a day-to-day basis, and you're just ripping that out.
I don't like Lowe's and the Home Depot cracking down on criminals is so funny because I've worked construction. Do you know who does fucking construction?
Yeah.
Criminals exclusively.
Yeah.
Right. I once worked a job with a guy named, I think I brought up my dad's friend Peg Leg before. He had a fake leg. He did a fun bit where he'd unfold a knife and stab himself in the leg in front of people who didn't know his leg was fake.
Yeah.
I was always said he sold literally trash bags full of swag weed to people. That's how he supplemented his income. But anyway, if you're a woman who needs to bleed plastic sheeting, a shovel, and lie because you need to get rid of an abusive ex-husband, shop a local mom and pop. That's my final recommendation for today. Flock, for its part, by the way, is branching out into facial recognition and bought a drone startup. So they're definitely trying to pivot from just reading license plates to making the eye in the sky real. So
the fucking eye in the sky is coming. Like there ain't no doubt about that. I feel like it won't even be that long before we got that shit going on.
But the country's so geographically, I know they'll just surveil the cities and probably quote unquote problem areas. But the thing is, we invented all kinds of things to be the fake guy in the sky. We invented religion, the man in the clouds, Santa Claus, elf on the shelf, to make kids feel like they're being watched so they'd be good all the time. So basically, we're replacing God and Santa Claus with AI drones. So we can tell kids they have to be good, or quadcopter is going to shoot them in the balls with a fucking beanbag round. So there you go.
Yeah, but if you get shot in the balls by a quadcopter, though, it'll stick with you, I imagine. Have you seen real quick before we go, just because they got eye in the sky drones play a part in that movie? I think it's have you seen Upgrade? You ever seen the movie Upgrade? This is a recommendation for the audience as well. I'm not just starting a private
Logan Marshall Green movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it takes place in the near future, and there's drone. That's not what it's about, but it's that's part of it. It made me think of it. But anyway, it's like a cool. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like a smaller budget, sort of indie-ish, but sci-fi movie that's done well with a good concept and shit. So I recommend that to people.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, it's been a while since I watched it, but I remember enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for us this week. I do want to remind you very quickly, though, again, go to TreyCrowder.com and come see me on the road, please. And check out the special Trash Daddy if you haven't. Also at TreyCrowder.com. You can get good Skews, Producer Matt's audio exclusive, on the audio feed of the show, so the podcast version. If you want a nice good news palate cleanser. And finally, support us on Patreon if you want to get 2 extra bonus episodes a month for $5. weeklyskews.com/more, or go on Patreon and search for my name. Either way works. But as long as you keep listening on Skews Days, we'll keep showing up. And we'll see you here about 7 days from now. Love you. Bye.
See you.